Heyo everyone, today I wanted to talk about something that I hold very near and dear to my heart. Raid Shadow Legends. Just kidding, that game can go f*** itself. Unless they want to sponsor me, I have no integrity at all and will 100% sell myself out for a quick buck. Anyway, where was I? Battlefront 2, a game that has had a very toxic relationship with the general public. Infamous for its controversial mechanics, this game was hyped, then hated, then tolerated. The story of EA's Battlefront 2 Redemption is a very complicated tale, but definitely one worth looking into. The lows and highs of the game demonstrate the power of a fanbase, and the work that a studio needs to put in to earn the time and respect of gamers. Just a quick disclaimer, I won't be covering everything as this video is already going to be way too long, so anyway, let's do it. Alright, in order to fully appreciate the tale of Battlefront 2, we have to start at the beginning. Nope, not that far.
Not too bad, huh, kid?
No, too far. You know what? This is close enough. In 2013, Electronic Arts, or as they're more widely known in the gaming community, Satan, obtained the exclusive licensing rights to publish Star Wars games. Two major problems with this. One, Star Wars is such a massive IP, perhaps even the largest IP in history, that giving one company exclusive publishing rights over it is a level 100 dumbass idea.
Is Scott here?
You know what? He just left.
2. Why would you give the exclusivity to EA? Of all the horrible studios out there, why in the whole wide galaxy would you ever pick EA? These guys? You picked these guys. 2 years later, fans were given a sneak peek as to what EA and Battlefield's DICE were doing behind the scenes. After a decade since the last Battlefront game, fans were hyped beyond belief for a modern rendition of the series. In the spring of 2015, EA released this reveal trailer, which was met with overwhelming positivity. The game looked beautiful, with amazing action sequences and homages to iconic moments from the films. Speeder bikes zooming by, Y-wings flying through the air with the screeching of a TIE fighter not far behind. This game was shaping up to be something special. We were given a look at some of the most recognizable and unique Star Wars locations to immerse ourselves in, such as this forest planet, and this ice one, and this desert place. We also get our first glimpse at the legendary characters of the franchise, like Darth Vader and Boba Fett Wap. Fast forward a few months and the game came out and people liked it. That's enough for this recap. Now let's get down to the real business, the real nitty gritty, the reason you're all here. Raid Shadow Legends is 2 years later, in April of 2017, we got the reveal trailer for Battlefront 2. Now, this isn't your older brother who would never let you play Battlefront 2. No. I'm talking about EA's Battlefront 2. This was the game that was going to revolutionize Star Wars games forever. This was the first time we were getting to play as the sequel trilogy characters. Finally, a location other than a basic forest or ice planet. Fuck! We were shown the new campaign that featured a canon narrative around the character of Iden Versio, which focused on an Imperial Special Unit officer after the events of Episode 6. Battlefront 2 was looking to become the most expansive of all Star Wars games, spanning all three trilogies for the first time ever. All around, this game was looking pretty neat. In October, DICE ran a beta allowing players to get a taste of what was to come. The game looked gorgeous and felt to be the most immersive Star Wars game to date. The base game featured more content than its predecessor and finally brought back unique classes. And by unique classes, I mean the very basic generic ones. Another addition was the implementation of battle points. In previous games, random spawns would allow you to get a vehicle or become a hero. Now, you actually have to work towards those rewards and encourages players to play better and think tactically. And they even brought back star cards. Everyone loved it and everything was going great. Oh, wait, I read that wrong, my bad. Everything went horribly wrong. I was never really the biggest fan of the star cards. I think they're a cool concept and the art looks really good, but I always found myself forgetting to switch them out or to even give them any attention at all. But boy, the rest of the gaming community certainly gave these cards some attention. The star cards can be obtained from loot boxes, so basically it's a slot machine. On top of that, it is ridiculously difficult to earn the in-game currency needed to purchase these bad boys. So what does EA do? Allow players to buy them with real money. It's pay to win. gemming for all of my Clash of Clans friends. In other words, complete bullshit. The system was extremely broken, so broken that I won't even get into it, and also because that's too much extra work and I don't want to think more than I have to. Okay, now the shit really hits the fan. EA tried to make some changes after the beta to improve their star card system, but failed in typical EA fashion. Soon, they were dealing with lawsuits and investigations from lawmakers across the globe for marketing gambling practices towards children. Oh, EA. You became too ambitious. You flew too close to the sun, dear Icarus. If you're gonna manipulate innocent children into buying in-game content on their parents' credit card, you gotta make sure you at least add some dances. Microtransactions aside, there were some big problems with the very foundation of this game. In order to play as certain characters, you had to unlock them, and some of these challenges would take up to 40 hours of game time to unlock. 40 hours! Instead of that, you could watch Shrek almost 25.5 times. After huge public backlash, EA consulted their best PR executives to craft a plan of defense. Soon after, they released a statement reading, "The intent is to provide players with a sense of pride and accomplishment for unlocking different heroes." This became the most downvoted comment in Reddit history. Yeah, EA gave up on that and reduced character costs by 75%. They ended up ditching microtransactions at the last possible moment and launched the game with no way to purchase loot boxes with real money. Outside of all of that controversy, the game launched with relative success. The launch was a bit buggy, but that's to be expected with modern games. Ridiculous, I know. A few weeks later, there was a free update that added extra missions to the single player mode, which were okay, I guess. Oh yeah, I never even really talked about the single player campaign. The Death Star went boom, Luke shows up, and yeah. Not much to say about it. I didn't play it, and don't really plan on playing it anytime soon. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, we're a couple of months into the game's life cycle, and it's time for one of the first major content updates. Nothing too crazy, just some bug fixes and the occasional overpowered Bigfoot. Wookiees were introduced to the game, and they were very, very broken at launch. I'm noticing a trend here, EA. Anyway, Battlefront 2 is still being investigated over loot boxes in the game. All the while, players are still grinding to unlock all the heroes and villains that really should have been standard with the game's launch. In March, EA finally backed down and made the characters more accessible. Every hero and villain was now available to anyone who played, as long as they were competent enough to earn battle points. The change was great, but Battlefront 2 was starting to run a bit stale. Although people were enjoying the grand scope of Galactic Assault, players wanted something bigger, something equivalent to Galactic Conquest from the original Battlefront 2. Later that March, EA decided to come through and give the players what they wanted. Ewoks? DICE added a brand new game mode called Ewok Hunt, where stormtroopers would try to survive a night on Endor while they waited for their transport ship. Meanwhile, the Ewoks would try to hunt them down and eat them. This wasn't exactly the game mode that Battlefront 2 players were looking for, but the additional content was met with almost universal praise. A few months later, Battlefront 2 began to run a promotion for the upcoming Han Solo solo movie, Solo. Pretty cool stuff. We finally got some unique maps, which is always a welcome surprise, and a few new game modes. During the summer of 2018, things were finally starting to look up for all EA and DICE. Just kidding, the game was still incredibly broken. Players found a glitch where Emperor Palpatine could zap his lightning through walls, making him ridiculously overpowered. It was so bad that DICE just said, "Fuck it," and removed him from the game. Huh? We're supposed to be adding content here, fellas, not taking it away. What are we, Nintendo? Thankfully, DICE was able to fix him and brought him back into the game, over a month later. What kind of hotfix is that? Come August, players were feeling a bit mixed about the game. It was starting to run stale again. However, hype exploded when one fan spotted a droideka from the prequel era in a screenshot. Finally, I've been waiting my whole life to play as a Star Wars Bakugan. When these rumors started escalating, DICE promptly shut it down and told them that there were no plans to add new droids into the game. Whatever, I guess I'll just stick with Emo Ash Ketchum instead. In November, Battlefront was given its largest update yet, Clone Wars. We got a new desert planet, yay, Obi-Wan, General Grievous, and more. This update was awesome and brought back a ton of players to the game. Oh boy, I can't wait for them to add Ahsoka and Ventress next. 2019 started off with a bang with the introduction of Count Poo-Poo into the game. People welcomed the update with open arms and even decided to add on to the new character in their own special way. A few months later in March, DICE released one of the biggest updates of the entire game's life cycle, Capital Supremacy. I wanted so much from this mode. It had a huge ground war mode and then a secondary offensive that happened in the massive spaceships looming over the battlefield. I was hoping it would be similar to that of the OG Battlefront 2 Conquest mode where a player could fly between ground and space, but that clearly didn't happen and now I'm trapped in an endless queue. Also, there was only one map at launch, so it got old real fast. What else happened? Oh, Yoda is finally given the ability to block. Seems like something that should have been a part of the game at launch, but, you know, EA. Skip ahead to June, and we get droidicas. Wait a minute. I think there's a glitch in the system here. This was also the point where many fans were beginning to turn around on their original, completely justified, harsh stance on the game. At the end of summer, DICE continued their Clone Wars content by adding the Clone Commandos. Pretty dope. They could use a force push and fire space grenades. We also got instant action, so I can finally earn enough battle points to play as a hero in Galactic Assault. Throughout this time, we were also getting additional maps for different modes, which was great. The amount of content in the game at this point compared to launch was a massive difference. We finished off the year with some Rise of Skywalker stuff to coincide with the movie. We also got the Star Wars Celebration Pack, which was dope. We're now 3 years since the game's launch, and the current Battlefront 2 is almost unrecognizable when compared to the original. But in typical Star Wars fashion, fans wanted more. And more they got. In February, DICE dropped 2 new, incredibly powerful heroes, BB-8 and BB-9E. I wish I could say I was joking. These droids were freaking legit and could even take down Vader and Obi-Wan. We also got Ewoks this month, which was met with a bit more of a mixed response. People love the content, don't get me wrong, but they also complained how seeing Ewoks on the Death Star took away from some of the immersion. Whatever, dude. It's fucking Star Wars. Oh, and to balance the Empire teams, they got whoever this is. A few months later, DICE dropped the Scarif update, which featured new Supremacy maps and Scarif. At this point, Battlefront 2's reputation had almost been completely redeemed. I am fully on board for whatever EA and DICE have planned next for Battlefront 2. Yeah, I figured it was too good to be true. After over 3 years of continuous support and free content, Battlefront 2 managed to redeem itself from one of the most hated games in the entire video game industry to one of the most beloved. Many players had completely shifted their stance on the game and hoped that Battlefront 2 would continue to get live updates, but alas, all good things must come to an end. Now that EA no longer has the exclusive rights to the Star Wars IP, I think now is a good time for DICE to take another crack at Battlefront with the 3rd installment. For better or worse, this game is a testament to what live games can become. Hey, if you liked the video, please subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like the video, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you everyone for watching, and of course, I'd like to give one more huge shout out to my sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends.